Hello.
Yay! This is episode 10 of What Katy Draws.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're at
I'm
10.
not. I'm not. Yeah, keeping track. Actually, I really should keep track. I can't
Well,
believe it's
honestly,
10
the only
already.
reason that I know that is because I don't change it until we're actually going to have an episode. So I make that title card and I just change the number from a 9 to a 10 when I scheduled it. So that's how I know.
Yeah, sounds good to me. No, just looking at that title sequence made me realize that I'm seeing loads of pictures of people getting the Sundering box sets, and like it looks so good because I live like on the other side of the world. I haven't got mine yet, but and it's probably going to like charge me some extortionate fee to actually like shipping and handling charges or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, they're gonna
Because
hold it for ransom at the
I
post
know,
office probably. Ugh.
yeah. So I have to like pay about like 3 or 4 times of the postage of everybody else. But that
Yeah.
is what it is with international postage. But it does look pretty good. I mean, from what people are like posting of it,
Oh
I'm
yeah, it
excited to get
is.
one myself.
I gotta take some pictures or some video or something to post it up on my socials and probably more on the UHS socials because it really is pretty and heavy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you could murder somebody with this book. I mean, not that I would, but you could is what I'm saying. It's a heavy
Yeah.
book.
Because it's a hardback, isn't it?
Yeah, which is why we're getting butt fucked on the shipping, but.
Yeah.
We did not plan that well, is what I'm saying. But it's gonna be fine. It's fine. Anywho's. So, what are we drawing today, Katy? And by we, I mean you, because I'm not drawing anything.
You're just here for moral support. Um, well, I have been writing something for quite a long time, and like since I was a teenager. But in the last few years, I kind of was writing some different bits to it, and I started writing like a prequel story to the story that I have had in my head. And then I suddenly sort of realized that actually it would probably make quite a good comic. So I've been starting drawing it out recently, like doing a storyboarding aspect of it. Just as it's very rough so far, just a sketch. So I'm thinking today that I might start like adding a bit of color into the sketches that I'm doing, just to flesh it out a bit more.
Nice.
I've only done 7 pages so far. I do know what is going to happen between these these 7 pages and the last 2 pages, which I haven't drawn yet, but I've already planned out in my head. But I haven't written it yet, so I just need to write it down and then figure out like how it goes. Anyway, so it's kind of going to be like a medieval fantasy setting because that's my favorite thing. But
Nice.
like I'm always like a medieval fantasy thing. Even in computer games, I'd rather do sword and sorcery than sci-fi.
Anybody who
So
looks at that title sequence for your show is going to know that you are into fantasy because it's like
yeah,
90% fantasy
and yet
and
I'm
10%
most well known
ambiguous.
at I'm most well known for being a wildlife artist. So it's
Mm.
but I used to do a lot of wildlife art like back in the day. Um so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm not sure that if I do decide to get it published, I don't know whether I'd like be the person to do all of the artwork because it's going to take forever. I don't even know how many pages it's going to be yet because there's 7 so far and it's only just started. So it might be more of a graphic novel than an actual comic, but we'll see. So
Yeah, it depends on how easily you can break it up into single issues, which is
yeah,
22 to. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to go more than like 36 pages. That's
yeah,
then you'd have a 40-page with the covers.
yeah,
That's
and that would
technical talk, though. We're not here for technical talk, are we?
no, and that would take me a very long time to actually draw. And I just realized that because I don't have my drawing light, I am really underlit right now, so I'm looking a bit ghostly.
Mm.
Let me just see if I can change that a bit.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think that your internet is blurring you enough that we can't tell that you look ghostly.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's not going to do that for when I'm actually drawing.
Let's see. I'll pull up your screen
Yeah,
here.
you pull up the screen. That's
Oh,
kind
your
of maybe
screen
make it
looks
even worse.
okay.
It's maybe just my. It's probably just my laptop webcam because I really need to get like something different. So
Mm.
yeah, this is page 1 with my very scribbly handwriting because I couldn't be bothered to figure out how to learn how to do the text thing on. There is a way to do the text bubbles with actual text, but I haven't got around to that yet. So
It's faster to write it instead of fiddling around with that anyway, isn't it?
yeah, so I mean, it doesn't really look like much at the moment, but it's kind of just putting things down in my head. So and me being an idiot, I put everything on one document and just like the pages are different
layers,
levels. Yeah.
I do that too. Don't feel bad.
Yeah. So
don't feel silly.
It's not. It's like I said, it's pretty rough at the moment. But yeah, it looks better in my head. But people who've read it so far seem to really like it. So
it's got a good flow. It's good for. I think it is. Definitely has the potential that you were feeling like it has. It has that for the for being a good comic book story, because you need to have good flow for a good comic book story.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try closing some of my tabs on my internet thing just to see if that makes the internet a bit faster.
What?
Right, that. I know, right? Because the trouble is with my actual internet connection is that because it's going through the Earth cable it's like it's plugged into the electric upstairs, and I think it's going through the Earth cable, so it's plugged into I'm downstairs from the modem, but it's going through the actual electrical circuit in the house. But it's a bit jumpy, so so I'm using my phone internet at the moment, which isn't much better, to be fair. So right, I am. How am I going to do this? I'm just thinking maybe I should just duplicate the layer and duplicate the layer and then unlock it and then go over the top of it. So the thing is, I'm really, really bad at making names up, so I haven't even named some of these characters yet, which is a bit of a problem.
Okay, so my mom has a massive box full of old cheesy romance novels from the 70s and 80s. Yeah. And I texted her a few weeks ago and I was like, do you happen to still have that big ass box of old romance novels? And she's like, yeah, probably somewhere. And I was like, oh my god, what are you gonna do with them? And she's like, I don't know, donate them, throw them away. And I was like, can I have them? I need stuff. I need stuff for stupid names and shit. I need to have. And so, because we've got a bunch of things in the tubes right now that we need to get good names and things for. And I was like, these are perfect for that, right? And there's so many that are like either the old fantasy history, historical fantasy, I guess. Yeah, they have those names in them. And so I'll have to, when I get my hands on that box of stuff, I'm going to start flipping through. I'm sure Jeffrey's going to go mad because there's going to be mom porn all over the apartment for a while. But it'll be okay.
It's fine. He doesn't have to look at it that much, but...
Well, the thing is that I think if men would read those, they might be surprised at how fun they are. I mean, nobody ever said they were good literature, but what we are saying is that obviously it's fun to read, otherwise they wouldn't be popular.
I love the fact that there's an entire genre of fiction that is it's Highlander erotica, so it's Scottish Highlanders specifically. So I think Outlander classes as part of that. But nice. Some of them are so terrible. I used to buy my friend some of them just to make her laugh, because it's what was it? The Devil Wears Kilts, and what's the other one that I found? Oh, there's so many bad ones, and the names are usually loads of puns as well. Oh, yeah. They are so terrible, but they're so bad it's actually hilarious to read. So. I'm just going in with the horse because it's what I feel comfortable drawing the most with no reference pictures. So, yeah, I learned how to draw by copying horses out of kids' horse magazines. Like Horse and Pony and Horse and Hound and stuff like that. I used to absolutely love that sort of book when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Not that I was like a horse girl or anything. Who'd have thought? But no, I used to work at a riding school as well, so a lot of it really helps to get hands-on with the anatomy and stuff. So getting the bones in the face and stuff. I mean, you have had horses as well, so you know what I mean. It's because they've got quite complicated sort of bone structure underneath. So
yeah, it's I've noticed a lot of times people when I was in art school still and drawing, the other students would try to draw something, like they would try to draw an animal of any sort, not specifically a horse, and they would try to correlate human bones and stuff to the animal parts, and it's like, okay, that works, but only to a point. Like, first of all, horses, for example, have more cervical vertebrae and they're bigger. Like, you can't put a human's neck in place of a horse's neck. It doesn't work. And then horses have bones that humans don't have, and we have bones that they don't have. Like, it just doesn't really work. If you want to learn how to draw a horse, you have to study horse anatomy.
Yeah. And it has stuff like the chestnut on the on the leg, which is like one of the toes from evolution that's just gone up the leg.
Yeah, I always thought that was a weird, like when I was a kid, I thought it was a weird scab, and I would always try and flick it off of the horses, and then my mom was like, no, you can't, that's part of them, you can't do that.
I don't imagine the horses were too impressed.
No, they don't care for it when you try and do that.
I wonder if it hurts them. I mean, I wonder how much feeling they've got in it.
Yeah, I wonder that too, like, what is that even attached to? I'm gonna look that up. I never did try to find out.
I think I might just slightly cover up I might just cover up the text things. I can always put in a text bubble afterwards, Yeah. I'm gonna give him a night. What? One thing that really bugs me in like fantasy films and stuff at the moment, and I saw it in what were we watching the other day? Plebs, Soldiers of Rome, which is like a comedic thing in the UK. I don't know if you have it over there, but it's basically about people in the Roman Empire. It's just like a comedy thing, but the it's in the Roman Empire, and like this hunter is like running after them with a Frisian stallion. It's like, why are Frisians in everything? They wouldn't have had Dutch carriage horses, It just drives me crazy. But you see it in everything, though. That I think because they're really good-looking horses, then they're quite showy. They put them in a lot of stuff just because they look good, even though historically they never would have had that type of horse then.
Right. You could stop there with the horse, and it would be. I know you're not gonna, but you could stop there, and it would be great. It would look great. Like if you finished everything up to that point. Also, I like the little angry face up by the king's head there. I don't know what that's about.
That is to remind myself that he's supposed to look angry when he's saying that. Because when I've been doing stuff like that, which is in different pages, it just makes sense to me just to remind myself about stuff. So I forgot to actually put there. And he's a prince. Yeah, he's a prince technically because he's like the youngest prince of his brothers, and he kind of wants to prove himself a bit. So he's decided he's going to conquer this area of unclaimed land, which is on the other side of the river, which obviously has people living in it because native cultures and all that, although they aren't human. But this is just them trying to get there at the moment because they've gone across the river and they've encountered the boglands, which is a big swamp. Basically, it's very hard to get through, and there are ways to get there without going through the swamp, but he hasn't really noticed, and no one really goes there, and nobody knows anything about it because the human kingdom in this is expanding sort of south and west because it's this world is sort of we're used to most stuff being in the northern hemisphere, but this is actually in the southern hemisphere in this world, and there's like an equatorial sort of bit where there's a big empire to the north across the equator and stuff, but these are more the southern kingdoms at the moment, but the wilderness area is to the west, and I haven't really drawn a map of it out yet. I really should.
Ooh, yeah. Maps are fun.
Yeah, and there's volcanic areas
maps.
as well.
I haven't drawn a map in ages. And I briefly entertained the idea of drawing a map for the Sundering, but we already had a really great map person, and I was like, nah, forget it. But it made me want to draw some maps again, and And actually, I saw it. I don't remember if you were the one who brought it to my attention. It seems like something that you would do, but like
you told me about the
going
one
out-
with the ice, was it?
Yeah, going out and photographing melting piles of snow in the spring, and then it makes like it shows really good if you go to the photo and then trace around the melting snow. It's really great shorelines and stuff. So yeah,
I think that was possibly one that either I sent it to you or you sent it to me. I mean, I can't remember. So
that sounds great. Okay, so I looked up chestnuts, and did you know that some types of extant equines don't have them on all four legs?
No, I didn't.
Like domestic horses have them on all four legs.
Yeah.
Except for it says that asses and zebras do not have them on their hind legs. The majority of domestic horses do, and Przewalski's horse does. But banker horse, Caspian pony, Icelandic horse, most individuals do not have them on their hind legs.
Interestingly.
And they are callousy and kind of like keratin and naily, like fingernails, and they peel naturally if you leave them alone.
I kind of imagine them to.
Care if I was picking at them.
No, I kind of imagine that they feel a bit like rhino horn. Not that I've ever touched a rhino, but.
Well, they don't. They feel okay. So I don't know what a rhino's horn feels like, but I do know what a cow's horn feels like.
Yeah, I know what they feel like. So.
Yeah, and I think it's not as those things. The chestnuts on the horse's legs don't feel as hard as a horn. But they also they're flaky. Like the calluses or the chestnuts are flaky and callousy, whereas a horn doesn't really flake or shed.
Yeah.
Or peel really. So, and the chestnut is kind of. It makes sense that if it's a vestigial toe, it makes sense that it would peel. Like our fingernails peel when they get too long, they peel and they break. So that makes sense. Yeah. And it's not a bone because it's not. It continues to grow like bones. Yeah. Once the animal's an adult, it stops growing. But these grow like fingernails. So that's
because I've seen people like trim them before as well. So I'm kind of thinking what the sort of...
Not sure what they're attached to.
No. I'm kind of thinking what sort of boggy sort of landscape it would be. I was kind of imagining it to be sort of like bits of tussocky grass that kind of just sinks, but with pools of sort of brackish water inside it as well. So I was going to get the mist rolling in anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much about that, because I can just do that to cover up like where the text is going to be. So... I love this.
Yeah, that is a common mistake that new comic book artists make, is to not leave space to put your text, whether it be dialogue or it be descriptive, context stuff. They don't leave enough of that, and that's bad.
Something I've been doing. Something I've been doing recently is, well, as you know, I started watching The Mandalorian. And the Boba Fett things, and what I really like is on the end credits all the sort of really artistic stuff that, like the obviously beautifully drawn sort of scenes that are almost like storyboarded, but I really like them, and I was like, I almost think you could do a comic in that style. So
I agree. Really nice. That's like, of course, being that I've been doing this for long enough that I think of everything in terms of, could I make a comic out of that anymore? So,
I never thought about doing a comic.
I've had that too. I've had that thought too.
I never thought about doing a comic until actually after I started doing stuff for UHS, and then I'm like, actually, this totally would make a good comic.
Well, I do remember it taking me several years to talk you into doing the short comic that we ended up doing, but once you got it wasn't. I think maybe you weren't as it was daunting at first, but then you got the hang of it real quick.
It is still daunting, and actually looking back on that, I still think there's stuff I could do better. But I think, was it Mike that said once that like you always continue to get better all the time whenever you're drawing these comics, and you can't really kind of go back and just keep redoing everything you did before, because
otherwise you never make anything new.
Yeah.
And I agree. And like there's times even if you look at Zach's art from Super #1 and then look at Super #6 and compare them, like you can tell how much he improved, and he was already extremely good when he started doing Super.
Yeah.
So it's always, you always improve, you never stop. And I mean, you as an artist know this, but it's just it's just that you don't even when you're already really good, there's noticeable differences. If you keep practicing, you're going to see the differences.
Oh, and I mean, I know we've said this before, but just look at the comic Alfie, how much that changed from the first pages. So I'm going to have to try and look up how to actually draw this looking like actual mud. Probably get some mud splatters going up the actual horse's body and stuff as well, because, you know. And I'm trying to get the horse looking a bit irritated about going through the mud as well, because it's, you know. They probably wouldn't like it, so. Although I kind of figure that the king's going to have a really nice horse, so I'm going to have a nice,
he'll have the biggest, fanciest horse,
Yeah, a stallion, and I can maybe if I hate myself enough, I might even make it a dapple grey. But
well, no, I think I might avoid that. You're gonna have to draw this horse several pages, several times. So maybe don't.
Because I'm gonna have to try and do the dapples exactly the same each time. So maybe it's just gonna be a grey with black mane.
Simple as good. And I can't wait. If you get this to the publishing stage and you want to publish it and you do publish it. I am so excited to see how many people tell you that the horse's anatomy is bad, because then we finally we get to be like, this is an award-winning wildlife artist, or award-winning animal artist's work. Are you seriously going to tell me that the anatomy is wrong?
There's always one. There really is. Yeah, there always is.
Yes, absolutely.
I had you remember that he wasn't a Frisian. He was a the Spanish horse. He was Zakiro. No, it's not an Andalusian, but they're the similar thing, Spanish horses. And I did this painting of the stallion that was at my friend's place that she worked at, and he was called Zakiro. And I asked her to draw it because he'd just come out off the transport from Spain, I think. And he turned around to look, but his neck was sort of like turned towards. So obviously, when you turn flesh, it compresses and gets wrinkles and stuff.
Right.
So, but I really liked it, and so I had this thing in an exhibition. And this woman, apparently, when I wasn't in the room, was like, "That horse is too fat. It's gonna get laminitis with a neck like that." It's like, it's a stallion.
What?
I know.
She's probably just throwing around the words because she's like, "Oh, laminitis, I know what that is, and I know what that means," and she probably doesn't know shit about horses.
It's like, it's a stallion. Especially Spanish stallions have enormous necks. I mean, he looked kind of weird because it was like really thin, spindly little legs and this enormous, thick, muscly neck. Because stallions get that lovely big crest up the back. So,
ouch!
You're right.
I just smacked my ankle on the table leg. Oops.
Yeah. So, even though this comic is actually currently following the only character at the moment who has a name called Jason, the prince is actually going to be the character that the story follows after this bit for a time. I may try and write something a bit more. And it kind of sucks because I still don't have a name for him yet. So I just keep thinking, like, I thought about the name Darius, but then I thought actually that would be better for his son because, well, I don't know. He's going to have a son, and I don't want to spoil too much, but he's going to have two sons, and I want one of them to be Darius. So that gives me a bit of a dilemma about what to call him. Because at the moment he's going to be quite a young man. This is a prequel, so this is going to be like before it actually gets to the bit that I have been writing previously. I'm just kind of trying to think what armor he would have on. Probably going extremely rusty in this sort of environment.
Yeah, no shit. It's a bit wet there.
Yeah. Well, that's his fault for trying to make his army go through a bog, so... But... he's going to fall into the traps of being an overly confident young man who thinks he knows everything and is going to very soon find out he does not.
Nice.
And but it's going to have horror aspects to it as well. So, and the more I wrote it, the more creepy it's getting. So it's
nice.
Yeah, it's kind of, as a bit of a spoilery thing, it is inspired by the cordyceps fungus, which is in The Last of Us. However, I'm doing something different with it than The Last of Us did. And I'm not doing it because, I think anyway, because I've never actually seen The Last of Us, but I'm assuming that I'm doing something different. Laurie said I am. So...
yeah, I don't have HBO, so I haven't watched it yet either.
No, I don't have that either. I mean, I think I would kind of like to see it, but if only just to make sure that I'm not doing anything too similar. Because, you know, people seem to get the same ideas all the time and stuff. And yeah, it's so... I think it certainly makes a difference when you put a bit of colour into it, just to... it gives it a bit more of a different atmosphere. No, I would like to see The Last of Us.
Same.
But I know what the cordyceps fungus is because I'm a huge nature nerd. It's nothing to do with the actual the computer games or anything. Although I am a gamer as well. I've just never actually played it that much because I'm not really into horror games as such. I have played... I think the scariest thing I played was the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines of the Ocean House Hotel bit, which for a long time was considered one of the scariest bits in the gameplay, but obviously games have come a long way since then. Although I did make someone once play that and he nearly shot himself. It was so funny because, well, you go into this hotel and it's not really spoilery, this game is like 20 years old, but you get sent to get this necklace by one of the vampires because it's, you know, Vampire the Masquerade. And you crawl in through a sewer and you go in, and as soon as you go in, you start, like, stuff starts rattling when you go close to it, and like the chandelier tries to drop on you and stuff. And you start going through these creepy bits, and there's one bit where you can see through these pipes and you can see someone coming towards you with an axe, and it kind of goes down that way, but he never comes round the corner. And I played this game. Yeah, I played this game multiple times, and you get stuff like screaming little girls and stuff going past, and ghostly flames and stuff like that. I got used to playing it until I went into one of these bits in the hotel. Now, I've always just gone into that bit, walked in, and then backed out again, because, you know, that's how you kind of use the game controller. Well, this one time, I turned around, and the guy with the axe is right behind you. He jumped out of my skin. He actually disappears if you go towards him. But yeah,
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan's here.
Oh, hey, Ryan. I'm just working on the comic thing I was I mentioned the other day, Ryan. The one that I've been writing. So
yeah,
it's kind of just storyboarding it.
We've turned her. She's one of us now, and
it's kind of more of a graphic novel.
Well, that's cool too. It's still, you know, same family.
Yeah. At the moment, it's just, this isn't going to be finalized. I'm just storyboarding just now, so... And
right now, we got they're riding their horses, and the kingy guy took the men through a swampy spot, right? A swampy bog.
Yeah, he's deciding to try and invade another country, but deciding to go through a swampy bit first. I'm going to make him sort of like a little bit blonde, not like really, really blonde, but maybe like the same color as my hair. But because I want his son to be blonde. One of his sons is going to have black hair, one of his sons is going to have blonde hair, but the black-haired one has got a black-haired mother. I'm trying to think about, like...
Is it gonna be like the black-haired one is the evil kid and the white-haired one is the good kid? Because...
Absolutely not. It's going to be the other way around.
That's a little tropey. Okay.
No, it's going to be the other way around. Like, the golden child is going to be an absolute bastard, and the dark-haired one's going to be really sweet. So... yeah, it's going to be... I'm going to be playing with a lot of different sort of things in it, like the sort of sense of being different and like otherly and stuff, because one of his sons is only going to be half human, so there's going to be a lot of stuff to do with that, and there's all sorts of stuff like his sort of kingdom like being a bit sort of like, oh, there's this land is, we can take over this land that in the wilderness, and the people there are like, wait, no, you can't, we live here. And he's gonna basically get a bit of a dressing down, shall we say, when after this comic finishes, because this is just kind of like the prequel to it, but he's gonna end up being sort of rescued and by these non-humans, and they're gonna put him in his place. Like he's gonna not like being put in his place because he's a prince, but he's going to grow to respect them afterwards. But this is kind of quite a long time in the past from the bit that I've been writing before. But when I wrote this, I just thought, oh, this would make such a good comic, this particular bit with the stuff that starts, the creepy stuff that starts happening in the swamp. I may change this, all the colours and everything later, because I'm just trying to think what his horse would have actually had on it, what royal horse, like saddles and stuff would be. Because I'm going to have to sort of think about what type of saddle they've got as well, with it being sort of knights and stuff on it.
Hello, Nightingale Wednesday Nightmare. That is a heck of a name. Nice. We are watching Katy draw her comic, so I'm sure you're working on plenty of stuff that you can't talk about right now.
I did get permission to show something that may or may not be used by UHS. I don't know, and I've zoomed it in because a lot of the body is nude. But yeah, this is something I'm working on for UHS at the moment. But I can't show the rest of the body because it's I don't know how much.
We're not monetized, so we can't get demonetized. But
but
all the same, it is racy. And there's no need to give away too many details.
No. So it's just something that, might be to do with UHS stuff, or it might not. At the moment, we're not sure, but hopefully it will. So I'm just enjoying drawing horses again, but I'd probably just sort out the anatomy a bit more when I'm actually drawing it for real. Because I'm just kind of trying to get a bit more of the atmosphere in at the moment. And Ryan, if you would like to read what I've written so far, I just hit me up and I'll send you the stuff, because I'm more than happy for you to read it, because I've only got 7 pages done so far.
And it's nice to have feedback from people that you know what they're talking about too.
Yeah, it just depends whether people can read my handwriting or not. So.
Yeah, that is the thing, isn't it?
I mean, I don't think my handwriting's that bad, but
No, it's a little scribbly in there because I can tell you were writing quickly, but it's legible. You're good.
I've actually got dysgraphia, so my handwriting doesn't really get much better than that.
It's legible. That's the important thing.
Yeah. It's a really weird thing with dysgraphia. Like, dysgraphia is related to dyslexia, I think.
Couldn't put it by me.
It's the, like, dyslexia is problems with information processing going in, but dysgraphia is a problem with the information processing coming out again. So, like, I know how stuff is spelt, but my hand will write it differently. So, like, for example, in my textiles exam at school, I would have, I would write bead. Now, I know bead is B-E-A-D, but every time my hand would write it B-E-E-D. It was so annoying. So I got tested for it when I was at university, and it like tests how many words you can write in a minute, and I think the average is something like 30 or something. I did 19, and I put 3 E's in speed. So it's like speed. Nice. Yeah, I get stuck.
and I misspell my own name a lot from that. I usually just say it's my brain going too fast for my hand, but it's it's those commingling disorders, neurodivergence, whatever.
Yeah. I'm kind of at the moment just trying to do a bit more design work on these as well, because, well, I haven't really designed any of the characters all that much yet, so I think at the moment it's just kind of like generic medieval fantasy stuff, because there's only so many types of medieval armor, really. Unless you get to the sort of Middle Eastern stuff, but because that gets like the curved blades and the brigandines and stuff, which is like one of the earlier types of plate mail with like plates of metal like riveted to a piece of leather and stuff. They were quite cool. But I mean, the person you need to ask is John
Cutter?
from the that's it, from the Sundering.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at doing stuff.
Yeah, he's a weapons nerd and medieval reenacting stuff.
I need to actually get. I'll maybe send him this and say, what do you think of the costumes?
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to what protective gear one would be wearing in battle. So he's definitely a good resource for that.
This gives it such a different atmosphere with the actual color on. Let's see it underneath, because that's.
Mm-hmm.
I still like the angry face though. Just I kind of miss that.
Oh, now you get to draw a real angry face on there, though, right? That's how you get to do it.
Yeah, depending on which way he's actually facing, because I haven't decided yet. But yeah, I mean it's still pretty damn rough, but I'll get around to it at some point, or not. But I don't know whether to actually try and do it as like an actual line arty comic, or do it as in this sort of style, because it would take forever doing it this way, but it would look really cool.
Man, it would be okay. In a world where you could actually do your very highly detailed painterly stuff for an entire comic.
Yeah.
That sounds extremely unrealistic. Because of how much time it takes you to do I can't imagine how much time it would take you to do one panel.
Yeah, although,
I remember scratches on the shield that nobody's gonna see because it's gonna end up being this big. Yeah,
I saw that though, because it's gonna get printed in fact, it did get printed quite a bit, didn't it, as a poster thing? Did I hear it mentioned as a poster? No.
It was going to be printed as something larger than an average print. But I do not remember what it was, and all the same,
it was that
put so much more detail in it than it needed to have. But
it was the Jace picture,
Yeah, the Jace one with the shield. Like you can see all the little scratches and scrapes, but you have to zoom in to see it, and that's a shame. But in a world where you could actually do that for an entire comic, that would be so fucking cool, because it would be so pretty. I mean, I don't even know how to describe how, because I've never seen a painterly. I mean, probably the Seeker was probably the most painterly comic that I've really seen, because I've seen like the very artistic, loose, scribbly, like Irwin's art is Irwin Rosa, very very loose, interpretive, almost abstract. It's really cool. Like Ryan. Ryan's art is not photorealistic like yours. It's so, like, his colors are vibrant, and the way that he uses them is so...
but so realistic at the same time as being really colourful as well. I love Ryan's stuff.
Yeah, Ryan's stuff is amazing.
I am totally up for getting the art of Ryan Robinson book when it comes out, so... Yeah.
That's happening, isn't it? I think that I think that I saw him announce that FSK is publishing his art book, so that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, maybe you should have come and published it with us, but I mean, if you had to go with somebody other than us, FSK was a good choice.
Yeah. It's not professional jealousy I hear there, Sarah.
Nah. Is it professional butthurt? Is that what it is?
No, I think it's definitely, if I do this as a comic and publish as a comic, I don't know, like if I do it, I am doing it now, but if I get it published, I'll be going through UHS, I think, because, well, UHS has been like...
Because I'll never speak to you again if you don't. You can't not go much. Through... We're friends, and I got you into this, and you have to publish with us forever. Only us. Ever.
I mean, it might take so long for me to finish this thing. I might, like... It might not, might not even be around by then. Yeah, I'll be like a little old woman in my 80s, like, drawing finish.
I don't plan to live past 65, so you better get it done quick.
Okay.
Because I don't have any, like, savings for retirement, and I live in America, so,
I don't even think there's going to be retirement by the time I get to that age anyway in this country, so...
We're just going to have, like, the purge, but for old people. That's what it's going to be here.
I think it needs some, like, reedy grasses and stuff.
It does have... I like the gloomy kind of... Is ethereal the right word? It's got a very misty, gloomy, magical forest bog thing happening there, so...
Yeah.
It's looking good so far.
I don't even know if any of this is going to show this reads and stuff, because it's going to be behind some of the text, but I'll make it a bit more faded into the background.
As long as there's going to be anything important over there, it's okay.
It's just going to be grasses and like trees and bits of vegetation and stuff. There isn't particularly much important in this scene apart from the king and. Sure.
Well, as somebody who helps put together the books and I'm not necessarily ever drawing my own, but I am putting them together a lot and doing like sticker stuff and making advertisements and merchandise and whatnot from the comic art.
Yeah.
I would have to say it's better that you finish underneath where the text is going to go, even though you know it's going to get covered up, because then it can get used for that kind of stuff too. And
it's going to be fog in this bit, so it's not going to be like...
Even so, better to finish the whole thing. And you being you, I can't imagine you not finishing it just because there's going to be words over it.
No.
That's not you. That's not a thing you do.
That's not me. Like, me not doing unnecessary amounts of detail? What is this nonsense? I must admit, I did not expect Hazel to be so good whilst she was in this room with me whilst I'm doing a stream. I just keep forgetting she's in here. She's just fast asleep on the bed.
Good girl.
Yeah. Because usually it's like a kamikaze Jack Russell coming in to see me, so... just... I suppose there's probably comics out there that are just pretty much like this anyway, without any much more refining going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's I mean, comics don't have to be the stereotypical, what it looks like Superman in the 50s. You don't have to have that. Comics can be whatever the artist wants them to be. As long as you're conveying the story with your images, that's what's important. It doesn't matter what style you use.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at the difference between what you're doing right now and Lucifer Licorice, for example.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Lucifer Licorice looks amazing, but...
And yet both of them are very good pieces in their own right. I mean, Lucifer Licorice is adorable.
It is, yeah. Very colourful.
Yes.
See, I kind of wish that I could get, like, better at doing colours, because I'm always jealous of Ryan's colours. They're just amazing. But I live in Scotland. Everything is grey, so like, I went to university in Aberdeen, which is entirely made out of granite, and like when it was raining, like everything was grey. The sky was grey, the floor was grey, the walls were grey, everything, and like puddles and stuff. I did take some pretty cool pictures of it when it was raining, but you just get so used to it. Like if you ever go back now, it's like it's been desaturated as soon as you like go anywhere. It's so weird. trying to see if I can find a tissue somewhere.
Like, I was thinking about descriptions of the West Coast, like Washington area, like Seattle, and how everything's green all the time. Everything everywhere is green. Even the air is green because it's so wet and misty, and so there's just moss growing on every surface, and the grass is always very, because, you know, grass is grows. The only time it doesn't grow is when it's been deprived of water for too long. Like, too much water isn't a problem for grass.
Well,
it depends on the kind of grass, I guess, too, but, you know.
Grass is... Everyone... Oh, humans are the most successful people on the planet. I mean, I beg to differ. I think it's grass. Because, like, in the... When... thing to think of? So... Oh, it's my...
Your internet's being a little choppy on you.
Oh, did I think I've knocked my cables then there a bit. I might have.
Oh yeah, your video is frozen.
Has it come back now?
No.
No?
Not yet.
Huh. Let me just...
I can hear you fine though.
I'm trying to... Is it back?
No.
I can see and hear you. What's going on?
Fun. I can. Your audio is coming through crystal clear. It's your video.
That's weird. Can you see anything moving on the actual screen?
I can't see anything move. Oh, I can see. Okay, your art screen is moving now, but your webcam is frozen.
Okay. Don't know why.
Oh, there you're back.
Oh.
Now you're back. Woo! There you go.
Yeah. I just wondered if I caught the stop screen. Am I okay at the moment?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you got a little bit of a lag happening from the looks of it, but otherwise we're good.
Right. Okay. I'm wondering if I caught the stop screen button. Anyway. As long as it's kind of moving now, it's fine. But I don't have the best internet in this room, so...
That's fair.
Yeah. I've been trying to decide with this character here, the sort of soldier at this bit, whether it's going to be a woman or not, because you do get female fighters in this book.
Nightingale Wednesday Nightmare says, I'm also a backer from Lucifer Licorice Kickstarter campaign, and I can't wait to read the comic. I'm so excited for you to read the comic. It is so cute. It is, I mean, the whole thing is so cute, and yeah, it's a bummer that it didn't do better, but like, all things being what they are, I understand.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna, but it did fund, everything succeeded in the end, so we can still, carry on and do issue 2, but...
Everyone just seems to be having such a tough time with their Kickstarters lately. I mean,
yeah, there's
not
so
just us.
many good books coming out all at once here. There's there's just a ton of good stuff coming out, and everybody has less spending money because of the inflation stuff. Everything got more expensive, but we all kept making the same amount of money. So
it's the cost of living crisis.
Money, and the people that we elected to do something about that aren't doing anything about that. They're busy. Well, in America, I don't know what they're doing in England and Scotland, but in America, they're busy, voting on abortion instead of, doing stuff that would actually affect people who are alive right now.
Oh, and in Scotland, well, it's not so much in Scotland because we kind of a lot of it's ruled by the rest of the UK government. They're basically giving all of the contracts to their friends and giving lucrative contracts to their friends who aren't fulfilling it, and like they did with the PPE, and there's billions of pounds of it going to waste because it's not up to standard, and it's just because they're all backhanding their friends basically. So politicians are pretty much the same everywhere, to be fair.
Yeah, that's not surprising. It's just so stressful. Like the fact that they're doing and they're voting on and they're debating, they're doing stuff that's affecting people in negative ways, in that, like, I mean, okay, if you're against abortion, I get it, but like, an abortion isn't harming somebody who's already alive, but yet we've got stuff that's happening that's harming people who are already alive, and we should be trying to take care of them first before we start worrying about people who haven't been born yet.
I think a lot of it is like diversionary tactics from stuff as well. It's like, there's a lot of other stuff probably going on that they're just trying to cover up with it. So
yeah, I don't doubt that. That is an extremely reasonable explanation.
Same.
Too,
well, but it's not a thing so much of a thing in this country, but because it's been legal for quite a long time here, and probably should be, apart from in Ireland. So because you get
it was legal here up until about a year ago.
Well, I mean, in the UK, we're not really a particularly religious country anymore. In fact, actually, I think like we're predominantly atheist now. I think for the most part, but
really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's like like a lot of things are starting to become like minority religions and stuff now. So I just don't think it's the same sort of thing anymore. Like apart from in Ireland, where there's like a lot of Catholics and Protestants and stuff, but I think a lot of that is because we don't really have so much of the religion pushing back on it in this country.
Sure.
It's
okay.
just,
That's interesting.
but there was a story about someone who'd gone to the hospital in Ireland and her babies were basically dead, but they wouldn't like do the medical procedure, even though it actually eventually killed her.
Oh.
So yeah, because it was like against their belief.
Are the worst.
I know, and it's like you couldn't have saved them, but the doctor was like, "Oh, it's against my beliefs or whatever," and it's like, yeah, but this woman was like, she was Indian or Pakistani or something like that, and yeah, it's like it's not her beliefs.
It's most of the time too. It's not about. I mean, people who really want these things to pass aren't accurately describe. That's really the big thing with me, is like you're not accurately representing the situation at hand here.
It's more complicated than they like to make out, basically.
Yeah, it's not like people are using this as their primary form of birth control. That's a myth. That's not true. I mean,
it's for people who it's like non-viable stuff that's gonna like be dangerous and stuff for the most part.
And the thing that really gets me is that for the rich people out there, the politicians, the uber wealthy, like that's always gonna be an option for them. It's always gonna be an option for them. They'll always be able to get their mistresses and girlfriends the care, the procedures that they need.
Yeah.
But it's just gonna be illegal for the rest of us, and maybe we can't carry a baby to term. Maybe we can't afford to have a baby.
Oh, it's like
human pregnancy is incredibly dangerous to a woman's body too. Like it's incredibly dangerous to her life because we are not designed well. Our body, like people, that's my number one argument against this intelligent design bullshit, because it's like, if we're so intelligently designed, then why do other species have so much ease when giving birth? Like, have you ever watched a dog or a cat give birth? Those babies just slide right out. And those cats, they barely have to go through any trouble at all. What?
Yeah, they still get problems.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, that's not. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's always going to be some problems, but like,
it's just it's incredibly dangerous. I mean, like, my dad's been sort of wondering about getting puppies off Hazel and stuff before, but I'm like, I just don't want to put the risk. There is risk involved. I mean, even no matter how healthy the dog is, it's like I don't want to risk that because. So much can go wrong. I mean, it's
Yeah, and it's so much easier for a dog or a cat to have babies than it is for humans. So like humans we have very high maternal mortality just for humans in general, and in this country we have unsettlingly high, because for as much money as we pump into the medical industry, you'd think that we'd have like 0 people dying from birth, but yet women die from childbirth all the time here.
Yeah, I mean, it's less than it was, but it's still like a big problem in certain places. So I like how this is looking with the colours into it. It looks so much more sort of understandable, but I should probably put in a line or something. But I haven't really done stuff like that so much in Clip before, so I'm not sure exactly how to put do all the boxes and things, like the grid lines and boxes and stuff like that. There's maybe a line drawing tool. I used to know how to do it in Photoshop, but not so sure on this one. And I should probably put it on a different layer as well, so it's actually going to be like not covered up by stuff. Is this it? Oh, that might be it.
Look how far you got. Just we're close to our hour here, but
yeah,
you got that very. I mean, you could, like I said, you could stop there, and it would be.
I'm just kind of thinking.
It would be finished enough.
Not finished enough for me.
I know, not finished enough for you, but finished enough.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that works. I'm just doing it as just squaring it off with a. Can you see the selection box thing?
I can.
Yeah, that kind of works, just to actually get it a bit more square. Because yeah, I keep developing this story quite a bit, and it's gone into a bit more of a creepy direction than I was anticipating.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's I was thinking sort of along the lines of, is there going to be magic in this world? And I'm not sure that humans are going to be able to do magic. But I think that I always like the idea that there's stuff like, I mean, there's going to be elves and dwarves and, usual generic fantasy stuff. But I'm also thinking of doing sort of more like fairy, like the original fairies, the Fae. And getting those involved into it, which is sort of more of like a demigod style things and deities, and they are sort of constantly trying to one up each other, but they've got different sort of sects of followers and different bits, like certain different some of the elves follow some of them, I think, and what's gonna call them, like the ever living or something. I'm not sure at the moment because a lot of it is just not quite written out yet, but it's there's one of them in this bog, and they're gonna come up against him, and he's gonna be a bit of a problem for the army, just him by himself. So
nice.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, that's the thing.
Right, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking better. I mean, the anatomy's not great, but it's. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that horses haven't had good anatomy in a comic. Like, to be fair, but there's some comics don't. Well, and a lot of artists seem to struggle a lot with horse anatomy. So, don't know. Edit, undo. That's not level. I don't know how to do this with the... Oh, damn it. I'll have to ask Fish how to do this properly, because he can probably tell me. I'm not used to doing like this sort of stuff in Clip. Right.
Hi, J-Man.
Hey, J-Man. So, no.
We had I didn't realize we had a connection issue with Twitch, but we were not streaming on Twitch there for a bit.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, when I set it up, to go to Twitch, but it wasn't doing what I wanted it to.
Oh, that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah. It is now, though, so we're good.
I mean, I don't know how it works anyway, so...
It's fine. I got it now. I fixed it. But yeah, I was wondering, I kept periodically trying it, and it was just not gonna go, but all of a sudden it has.
Yeah, I think possibly I do keep thinking about maybe doing it slightly later this stream, because I think people kind of I know J-Man seems to come in at about the same time every time, So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably when he gets back
Would it be
from
easy?
work and stuff.
Yeah. Would it be easier for you, J-Man, if we started it like an hour later to watch this?
No. I mean, I guess mornings are good too, but, you know, we both got stuff happening in the mornings, and that wouldn't necessarily... I mean, the morning for me would still be afternoon for you.
Yeah, because the time 11 o'clock in the morning for Fish is 4 in the afternoon for me, so it's slightly more problematic.
Right.
I'm trying to think which horse would be which color. I think that's... Yeah, I think this is... that's too big. I'm on the wrong button. I think this horse here is the brown one. That's the trouble with like doing my sketches. It's kind of trying to figure out which person is which.
Sure.
From different angles, it's a bit of a, bit of an issue. But I'm just so. Yeah, I mean it's not looking too bad. I quite like it. I think it's probably would be easier to show people if I actually did the whole thing like this. Even if it's just a storyboarded bit so far. Because I think sometimes people struggle a bit with the actual the how scribbly it is when I've been showing it to people, because not everyone's used to translating that sort of stuff when they read it.
J-Man says he gets off work at 3:30 and is usually home in 15 or 20 minutes. And that's...
Okay.
You're in the same time zone as I am, so that's... I think. Yeah, because it's after the Illinois border where it changes, I think.
Oh, that's just so crazy to me being...
I don't even know. Oh my god,
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
It's so crazy to me
Are you
that...
in Central Time, J-Man?
Yeah, it's crazy though, because like my entire country has one time zone. It's like
that would be so much easier.
I know.
Yeah, like when we do stuff, I mean, like yesterday, we did our stream for Warp Hustler, and Paul's in one time zone. I'm in another time zone. Lori's in a third time zone. God forbid we have somebody else working on it that is in the Pacific time zone. Oh my gosh, it's just... Ugh. And yeah, and if you go to Canada, there's one that's like, it's Nova Scotia, I think. But anyway, it's another time zone. And North America has more than 4 time zones.
That's just insane to me.
It's yeah.
However, I mean, it does like we are quite high, far north here. So even from where I used to live, which was like 7 hours drive down south, there's definitely a difference in how long the days and nights are. And like, I had people in Yorkshire where I came from who didn't believe me. They're like here in summer, it doesn't get dark here, like not fully dark. I mean, I've shown you the pictures of it.
Yeah. It's like every night is a full moon all night
like
long.
Twilight, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really weird. In fact, I'd say it's even probably brighter than full moon is.
Okay.
It's kind of just like a bluish sort of grey twilight. You can see about 3 stars in the middle of summer. That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a really difficult angle to draw horses from. It's like, I'll just have to like see what I can do about this. I mean, I'm used to drawing like horses, but it's a bit of a interesting angle. I think I'm not going to make this horse a dapple. I think that would just be driving myself crazy.
Yeah.
Which we know that I seem to like doing when I'm drawing these things, but yeah.
Indeed.
You're the one that has to listen to me whinge about it, so.
It's always like I always kind of chuckle because I'm like, yeah, I understand, but also you don't need to do that much detail for these.
I do.
But this is your pet projects. So with this one, you should do as much detail as you want to. So, but also like I guess you have to be reasonable if you want to ever show the finished product to anybody ever. That's true. That you have to be reasonable in that word in my head that can't come out. Brains.
Regard.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. In that regard, but like so like you have to do as much detail as you want within the time frame that you want to get this stuff happening and being able to show people your finished.
Oh, we
product.
haven't told J-Man what I'm doing at the moment, have we?
Oh, so that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on a comic that I've written, J-Man. So this is something that may get published with UHS when I finished it. If ever.
When she finishes it.
Yeah, because I think it's going to get to the stage where you and Laurie are just going to constantly nag me to finish it at some point, isn't it?
Well, we'll just do it this way. Like, we will totally publish your piece, but not until it is done.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. We will absolutely schedule it for release, but only after it's finished. That way there's no pressure for anybody. You can take as much time as you need, but also, like, if we publish it and it's popular, then you're gonna be in trouble because you're gonna have to start cranking it out on a schedule.
Oh no.
J-Man said he watched the new Wonka movie trailer and enjoyed that, but of course, Gene Wilder is a classic to most, but the Johnny Depp Tim Burton one really sucked. Yeah,
I've not seen that trailer yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. It was the one we were making the jokes about Temberley Chalamet or Temberley Chevrolet and Cabernet Sauvignon and Benedict Cumberbatch, and we were making those jokes last night, and Dee and
I think that was
Lori
after I'd gone to sleep.
Katy and I, we were in that chat and making those jokes, and it looks better. I definitely think I agree with you, J-Man. It definitely looks better. And it just makes me mad because we know Tim Burton is capable of making a good movie. Like, he's capable of attaching his name to good stuff. I mean, look at Edward Scissorhands. But
I'm not sure he's capable of making anything without putting Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter in it, though. It's just that they seem to be in everything he makes now.
Was that the problem? No, because Willy Wonka, the Wonka movie had both of them in it too.
Yeah, he puts them in everything. It's just like he sort of like cuts and stamps the like.
I don't think
actors.
He puts Helena Bonham Carter into it since they got divorced anymore. I think he's just pretty strictly Johnny Depp now.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant is an Oompa Loompa? Is he really? That's amazing. I need to go watch that, don't I?
I haven't even seen the trailer yet. I must look that one up. It seems to have just kind of like been a bit beyond me recently. Sure. I've just been too busy. I'm having one of these years where it seems to be like I'm busy all of the time, but I'm never getting anything finished. Mm-hmm. It's like, I mean, we had like a bereavement in the family and stuff, so I had to look after everything whilst my parents were away and stuff. So that didn't help. But like,
sure.
Just everything just seems to be so busy this year. But when you look back at it, it's like I don't seem to have much to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just life in general, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, crap. Ah! Take that. I'm trying to think what I should make for supper tonight.
I had fish and chips from the chip shop because I was trying to cut the grass, and like it's been raining so much here recently in the last couple of weeks that the grass is now over a foot high, and I just thought I've got to try and get it, like, even just use the strimmer on it. I hate using the strimmer. It's just, I just don't like it. But it's also been like thunderstorming as well, so I've been trying to do it whilst it's not been raining and thundering.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I was like, I can't be bothered. I'm going to go to the chip shop because I had to go to the shop anyway. So.
Sure. Fish and chips is good.
Yeah. Although I tend to get battered mushroom and chips these days as well, because that's really surprisingly really nice. Like deep fried mushrooms. Yeah. So good.
Agreed.
If you like mushrooms, which a lot of people don't, but...
J-Man says that you have a similar accent to Hugh Grant.
That's a bit of it.
They have different accents like we do in America. Yeah, we have. Yeah. It's lots of regional stuff. But yet, when on movies, we only ever hear like the Queen's English accent.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't actually sound like this though. Like, yeah, because my granny was like, "Oh, you." Yeah, she was like, "Oh, well, you can't get a job unless you speak Queen's English." So I don't really sound like where I came from, and I definitely don't sound like I'm from Scotland, which is where I live, and have lived for 20 years.
You're originally from York, you said?
Yep.
Yeah,
So I should sound a bit more like Sean
that
Bean.
Either.
No,
Yeah.
I should sound more like Sean Bean. But I don't really have the accent anymore. And of course, I've lived in Scotland for such a long time, and I do a lot of work with like Americans, so my accent's just kind of got a bit bland recently. Because I find myself like just automatically saying things different for like because I'm speaking to everyone who's from America. So yeah. Like I noticed earlier, I said mom instead of mum. So I said
that's one of the easier ones for us to figure out, though, when you say aubergine instead of eggplant, and we're like, what the fuck?
And courgette instead of zucchini. Is it zucchini? Yeah.
Yeah, courgette. Yeah, the green. Yeah.
Yeah, or sometimes yellow. But...
That's true. I mostly, because everybody in the summertime, we grow the green ones. I don't know a lot of people who grow the yellow ones.
Oh, the yellow ones are really nice.
We could buy the yellow ones in the store if we...
Yeah. We can't buy the yellow ones in the store. Wait, what? We can only buy the green ones in the store. We have to grow the yellow ones.
Really?
Yeah. Well, depending, unless you're in like really posh stores down south, but I don't.
No, I've seen the yellow ones in the stores before.
Nah.
I just never get them. I don't know why.
They're really nice. They're not quite as bitter as the other ones.
Really?
Yeah. I really need to ask Fish how to do these boxes. The line's so wonky.
Do you think Fish would do like a Clip Studio Comics 101 for a School of Fish sometime? You should suggest it to him. I bet that would be fun for him.
Well, he kind of does, but he just does like specific things.
Yeah, but yeah, if he could do one episode instead of, separating it across a bunch, he could do one episode where he's just like, this is how you do panels in there. That'd be nice. Yeah. Of course, I did invite him today, what you want to know now.
Yeah, I did invite him today, but he must be busy or something, so...
Yeah, he's a very busy guy, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I don't even think he'd seen the message, so it's... It doesn't matter, though. We can always catch his show tomorrow. Well, I can, because I've got the Patreon, so...
Right.
The $3 one, because I'm a starving artist as well, so...
Yeah, I'm like sitting here going, I'm not even sure if I have... It's not so much that I don't have $3 right now, as it is that I don't know if I'll always have $3.
I know, especially when you've got like elderly pets and stuff as well. So that's because I know you've got like quite...
I do. I have a bunch of old ones, but I have the one that he's got kidney failure, so we are spending quite a bit more money on him than we used to. But
yeah, I mean, I've got like my two dogs are still pretty young, but even then it was like we had to take Spot in for his vaccinations, just his booster shots, and that was £65 for the booster shot. Jesus. At least that's only once a year, but
yeah, wow.
Yeah, I did think about getting him kennel cough as well, but he doesn't really go near other dogs because he's reactive and
yeah, if you were in a situation where you had to take him to kennel him or something for a trip or whatever, like you would know to get him the kennel cough shot before that.
Although I absolutely cannot imagine him in kennels. He's just a nervous wreck at the best of times.
Yeah. J-Man said, I can understand the Scottish and I can tell the difference with their accent and the Irish because there's a difference. But two Scottish people speaking together, I get lost in.
Yeah, which part of Scotland? Because I live in the northeast Scotland, and northeastern Scottish people. If you've ever seen the film Brave, it's the blonde kid, the one that nobody else understands. He's from the northeast because they speak Doric up here, which is like a completely different language almost. There's like a 6,000 word Doric dictionary out there.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, and it was like just a complete mindfuck when I moved in here. It was like, what on earth is going on? Because instead of saying how are you, they go fit like.
What?
Yeah, fit like, and faz that is who's that, and I'm trying to think of other stuff. I don't really... The weird thing is that everywhere around where I live, there's loads of English people. So I don't really get exposed to the accent quite as much nowadays. But it's
interesting.
It doesn't, Scotland doesn't have the same accent everywhere. And of course, the West Coast, especially in the Western Isles, you get more of the Gaelic. So that is a different language as well. But Gaelic and Doric are not the same thing at all, anywhere near. So it's interesting. Oh, I like how this mist is turning out in this bit.
You said you were struggling with that angle, but it doesn't look bad. Okay, I mean, I guess maybe the brown horse looks a little...
Yeah, I need to...
A little off, but not bad. It looks good.
I'll have to go onto, like, The Witcher or something and see if I can change the camera angle to be looking down at him when he's riding.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know if you can do that on The Witcher, can you? I can't remember. You can certainly do it on Skyrim, but the Skyrim horses aren't exactly accurate. But...
Yeah. Ooh, you know what?
Oh, Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I was gonna... Red Dead Redemption, shit, Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Surprisingly good horses. I'll have Jeff boot it up and send you a couple of clips because they're surprisingly good. I am impressed.
I still think the best horses, though, so far, are Red Dead Redemption 2. They're so good. I keep thinking of playing it again.
Oh, for sure.
Everywhere, just like doing the random encounters and stuff.
Excuse me.
And for all that I'm a vegetarian, I do like hunting in that game.
That's fair.
Yeah. Oh, the cougars in that game just drive me crazy. You're just riding along, minding your own business, and all of a sudden you just get knocked off your horse by one, and like they kill you in about one bite. Yeah. Sometimes your horse sort of like alerts you, but they always seem to spring on you right in the middle of the night as well.
J-Man says, is the Gaelic different between Scottish, Irish, and Welsh?
Welsh. The Welsh people don't speak Gaelic; they speak Welsh. Irish Gaelic. No, it's Gaelic, Irish Gaelic, and Scottish Gaelic. So I think it's very similar, but they say things differently. I think you'd probably be able to like mostly understand between the two, but there is a bit of a difference between them. But no, Welsh is completely different. But we do actually have BBC channels that are in the Welsh language and in Gaelic as well. So it's BBC Alba is the Gaelic one. That's Alba is white in Gaelic. That's about one of the few words that I know.
Nice.
And I know that because Spot's sister is called Alba. So it's
nice.
And she's like mostly white dog with just like a bit of like she's a blue merle, so she's got the merle on her head but nowhere else. So
okay. Cute.
Yeah. And he usually gets beaten up by her when he meets her, so because she's the boss and he's a coward. He's just a coward. Yeah. I'm gonna have to do some like research and stuff on what stuff looks like in swamps, especially from above. Oh, I'm pinging. I wonder if... I don't know. That might be somebody trying to talk to me, but
it's usually what Messenger is for, isn't it?
It's not necessarily someone. Yeah, it's not necessarily someone talking to me though. Could be a group chat.
Group chats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have my phone silenced, but I didn't ping, so it's not one of the ones that we're both in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I usually have my phone silenced. I don't like phone calls. I'm fine with hearing the messenger ping happening, but I don't want to ever hear the phone ring, and you can't tell it to just never ring. Just send it straight to voicemail. If it's important, they'll leave a message, which I will then not listen to, but I will read because iPhone does this fancy schmancy transcription thing, and I will read that. But I will not listen.
Who uses their phones for speaking nowadays anyway? I mean, that's just crazy talk.
Like, my mom and my sister always want to call on the phone, and I'm like, please no. Can't you just text?
I'm just going to stare at it in existential horror until it rings off anyway, so...
Yeah, like, I will answer it if it's somebody that I recognize. You know, like, obviously if it comes up as somebody who's in my phone book, I will be like, fine, but I'm not
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
happy
I mean,
about
like
it.
the trouble is, like the doctors around here, like it comes up as an unidentified number. So if your
Mm-hmm.
doctors are trying to phone you, then it's like it doesn't say who they're from. So and you get a lot of spam calls and stuff. So I just don't answer it most of the
These,
time.
yeah, they just. And I have mine. I had my doctor's phone number programmed in so that it would show up correctly.
Yeah,
They changed now. They changed their phone system, and now it just comes up with random numbers all the time.
it's not random. It just says like out of area or unidentified caller or something.
Yeah, here it says the phone number. Like on my phone anyway, it says the phone number of the people that are calling. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's why I can't program it in, because the phone number doesn't stay the same, and it has to stay the same for you to be able to program it in. So.
Oh. And we do get quite a lot of like just spam calls and stuff, and I just can't be dealing with it. What was the last one I got? It's like your Microsoft account. Oh no, or was it your Amazon? Amazon Prime has been suspended, and you need to pay like £95. I'm just like, put the phone down.
All right. I had just the other day one about the Comcast deal expires today, and you better get in on it now or you'll miss out. And I was like, we don't even fucking have Comcast around here. What are you guys, like, you aren't paying attention before you dial these numbers, are you?
No, I mean, a lot of it is probably just kind of...
Yeah, we have Mediacom, and that's it. And there's no Comcast. I don't know where Comcast is, like, the nearest place to here, but we don't have it. J-Man said, my great-great-grandparents on my father's side immigrated here from Ireland, so Gaelic language got lost in my family, but there is a few words that never disappeared that we still use. Yeah, cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I think I've got Irish ancestry somewhere. Most people do, to be honest, but especially in the UK. I don't think I've got a lot of it, but my mum did one of those fancy sort of DNA test things, where you send your DNA and it tells you stuff. And we've got quite a lot of Norse, actually, from a long way back. So I come from New York. It's probably the Vikings. Like, everything around there was the Vikings, so...
Sure.
I mean, it was built by the Romans, but it was Jorvik when the Vikings were there, so it's probably a safe bet. Oh, I'm drawing another rider here, and he isn't in any of the other panels. It's just, oh well. He can be another general. He can have a black horse, because black, bay, and grey. Why not? And it's not going to be a Frisian, because Frisian horses and stuff annoy me. Even though they're beautiful horses, it's like, no, they're Dutch carriage horses, and they are not the comfiest horses to ride. I've been on one before.
Sure. The big ones aren't as fun to ride as the smaller ones. And Frisians are a bigger one, aren't they?
They're specifically a carriage horse, and they've got a really elevated trot, and you just feel like you're getting thrown out the saddle every time they go into trot. Compared to I used to ride Irish draft horses, which are so nice to ride.
Really?
But they're a bit more of a rare breed now.
Sure, okay. I've pretty much been strictly quarter horses and Belgians. We had Belgians.
I'd like to ride a Belgian. Yeah.
And I mean, the Belgians are fine to ride, but first of all, I always have to ride them bareback because we didn't have a saddle big enough for a draft horse. And then
it's not so bad if the back's really fat, though. I mean, it's like I did bareback riding on Rupert. He was a cob, I guess you'd call him, and his back was so wide you couldn't have fallen off anyway because there was like a hollow in the middle of it, and he just fit in the hollow.
That's fair. Okay, so it's like reverse butt cheeks or something. It is on their backs, but the problem that I always had is that I remain short. I am a short person, and despite I have pretty like long legs proportionally to the rest of me, but I am overall a short person. But
I always thought you were kind of taller.
I am only 5'4".
Oh, you're so little.
Yeah. I'm a little munchkin compared to you. But yeah, like I would ride the draft horse. I would ride the Belgians, and it was as a child, my legs were basically just kind of sticking straight out on either side, so I couldn't grasp. I was used to being able to squeeze with my feet and be able to hang on. and there was no way to hang on, so I was stuck like scrunching my feet up, my legs up into like a like I was riding in an English saddle even. I had my
I've
legs
only
all
ever really
hitched up.
I've only ridden one of them, so I mean, I learnt to ride on a cob. Rupert, he was lovely. It's like a they call it coloured in the UK, but I think it's paint in the US. No,
Sure.
the yeah.
Bi and tricolored, yeah.
Yeah, he was like a brown and white one.
J-Man wonders if this is going to be a Knight's book.
Kind of. At the moment, it's going to be following the some of the regular troops who are not the knights. Because this is the guy in the middle with the red cloak is the prince. So it's the prince and his like commanding officers are on the horses. The rest of them at the moment are foot troops. However, it's gonna like if there's a next story, it will be following the prince. But this particular story, for the moment, follows 3 of the foot soldiers. So, but it, yeah, I actually quite like how it's looking with the color in it at the moment. It's a bit sort of dingy, but that's not looking too bad. I need to figure out what sort of equipment the men at arms are wearing, though, like the soldiers, whether they are actually proper foot like knights or if they're actually just like. Just peasants with spears and because a lot of like armies would have just been like people drafted in. Mm-hmm. You would have some of the elite soldiers, but a lot of them would have been just like guys that taken from the like conscripted from the fields. Mm-hmm. Especially with him being like a younger prince as well, I don't think you'd have had too much access to really like high-end troops. This is him going out to try and prove himself by conquering another country, which he thinks is unoccupied. Spoilers, it's not.
Jesus.
I've actually got more done than I thought I would have so far.
Yeah, you're like well on your way with 2 panels here.
Yeah, I mean it's not to anything near the levels of details I'd like to get it to, but
you could stop here and it would be enough. Like that's what I'm impressed by is like in an hour and a half ish, you did enough. You did 2 panels to what could be considered completion. I know it's not complete enough for you, but J-Man says I like these type of stories. My favorites are the Knights of Templar.
Yes, the Knights Templar were interesting. I'll show you some of the other pages. So this is the first page. So at the moment hang on, wrong layer. This is it, page 2. So it's starting to follow these 3 guys who are going off into the swamp because they see they're trying to find a way through the swamp. Basically, the kings just said like, someone find a path and then come back and tell us how to get through. Because there's got to be a way through. So these guys are going off in different groups. And they see a glimmer of gold in the distance. And the one character who so far has a name is Jason. And he goes off after the glimmer of gold that you can see. And which page is it? No, that's the wrong one. Then finds a corpse of an elf with a golden mask on and sort of weird growths coming out of the body and stuff. So Jason, not being the smartest guy in the world, decides to try and steal the mask. So I mean, to be fair, if I found like a creepy corpse in a bog with a golden mask on, I'd leave it the hell alone. But yeah, so he steals the mask. And this is only half of the comic anyway. So yeah, they turn around and like they're not really watching him looting the body, and then they hear him screaming, and the corpse has got hold of his arm, and they hack the arm off, and then throw the arm back at the corpse, and then run away. Basically, that's as far as I've got so far.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's as far as I've got, and it will develop from there. it's not really a zombie film. It's sort of, I don't know how to like give too much away, but I'm kind of going off the cordyceps fungus thing. So it's a little bit like The Last of Us, but not quite. I'm doing something very different with it. So there is some sort of aspect of the fungal networks involved, but it's because the cordyceps fungus can completely bypass the nervous system of the creatures that it's like the bugs that it's controlling in like the real world. So if there are images of it like basically driving a zombie insect about, which has got half of its body missing, but just by giving signals through to the muscles and stuff. I don't know if it'd be able to do the same thing in a dead human, but there's a lot of sort of control stuff going on, and yeah, it's going to be a bit creepy and gross and interesting as well, because there's going to be a force behind the control as well. So it's I'm trying to think of how to actually describe it in like a way that doesn't give away the story too much.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't think it's going to go well for Jason, to be fair. He's the only one I came up with the name for as well.
Well, see, as you got, oh, excuse me, you got this good feeling of progress on these two panels here.
Yeah, I think it
seems like a good place to pause for today, because I gotta make some food.
Yeah, I mean it's it's late.
And do something to stop yawning. I am yawning brains out here.
Yeah. So yeah,
still too long, I guess.
it actually doesn't seem like it's been as long as that, so that's
it always goes quickly, yeah.
Yeah, so right, well, I think we can leave it there for now, and I might be working on it a bit more in the future. I might hopefully have written more of it down by then, rather than just 7 pages. Because I don't know how many pages it's going to be, but probably a lot more than 7. So, because it's got some like quite complicated stuff starts happening with Jason and his friends. So, who I need to find names for as well. Was it? Someone suggested Paul for one of them. Could be. The trouble is, I've got an uncle called Paul, so.
I know really a lot of people named Paul. I have a cousin named Paul, and he was him and I had a grandpa named Paul, and those were the only 2 Pauls I knew for ages. And then all of a sudden, I've met so many Pauls. Like
one of my uncles is called that, so I don't really want to like name him after a character that's going to get lost in the swamp and probably die. So
unless you don't like your uncle, then that's fine.
No, I like my uncle. So it's funny. It's funny, really, because I just thought, I'll just pick a generic name just for this guy. So I called him Jason, and I immediately made a friend called Jason, and I was like, now I just feel bad. I'm going to kill off this character with the name that my new friend has.
It'll be okay.
But there's only so many names in the world, I suppose, so...
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. At least I did tell him that that's what happened, so... Yeah.
Yes, it's that he came after your character, so you weren't doing that on purpose to him, so...
No. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with how I've got so far. And actually, it kind of... I wasn't thinking I'd actually done that much, but when I actually look at the page underneath it, it has actually made quite a difference, actually. I think if I actually showed that thing and had that like text written over the top of it, like text things, then I think it would be much easier for people to read if it was actually text, not my handwriting as well. So yeah, I'm happy with how that's turning. Yeah,
it's
so
real good.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how it goes, and I'm probably going to work on it quite a lot more, because that horse at the front totally looks like a Highland pony as well. Just looking at it, like it's Highland pony shaped. I need to make it look like more like a horse rather than a pony. So anyway, right, well, yeah, I think I should call that a day for tonight, and then hopefully we will see everybody to work on more of this comic at another time. So
tomorrow, if you're a Patreon patron of Fish's, then you can watch his School of Fish at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock Eastern time, 10 o'clock Central time. And then go to Agents of Geekdom, and you can watch. We got a show pretty much every night on Agents of Geekdom.
Yeah, there's 5-Star Fridays and
5-Star Fridays and
What the Fig. I don't know. I can't remember which day.
Oh, Saturday morning is Kyron's show, Four Tales, and then Sunday is.
There is the What the Fig one. That's I don't know which day that was on though.
That was Saturdays, but I think they moved it to Tuesdays, which is Tuesdays is What the Fig and Tuesday Night Clapback. Mondays UHS Presents, that's our show. Wednesdays Chat and Draw. Thursdays Moana's podcast, Moana Nui podcast. Friday is 5-Star Friday. Saturday is Four Tales podcast. Sunday is the Agents. It's the Agents of Geekdom. It's like they play video games. Anyway. So we'll be back. Well, so Fish will be back on tomorrow morning if you are a patron of his. But then we will be back on Monday with an Agents of Geekdom show, UHS Presents. And then after that, we'll come back with Katy, what Katy draws on this channel.
And hopefully I remember it's a Wednesday again.
Yeah. I set myself a little recurring alarm to tell me that your show, but I only set it to like 2 hours before, and I feel like that's going to be dangerous for us both because 2 hours might be too late if we've decided.
Well, I'm not usually doing anything on a Wednesday evening, but there has been an occasion where both me and Sarah have forgotten it's Wednesday, so it's
it's a thing.
Yeah.
J-Man says it looks beautiful so far.
Oh, thank you, J-Man.
It does look.
I'm
very
hoping
good.
I can actually get it finished because I'm sure UHS would publish it if I did. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, because this is just blocking it in so far. It's not really how it's going to be when it's finally so.
But it's looking good.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well, thanks to everybody who tuned in, and thanks to everybody who's gonna watch this later because I know some of y'all will come and watch it later.
Yeah.
I see the views. I see our analytics. I know.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, and have a good one. Bye.
Bye.